Hello everyone, and welcome to your first official lesson of this tutorial. Here we're just going to become a bit more familiar with idle, which is how we're going to build and run our Python programs, and we're going to build a very simple input-output type Python program just so that you can get used to the flow of things. So go ahead and open up idle now. It should have been automatically installed with Python 3.6. If you're using a Mac, you should be able to find this under Launchpads in your applications folder. Simply select idle. So this is what's called a Python shell, in which we can actually write and execute statements right away. Now this is great for kind of single line statements. For example, if I wanted to just print something out, I could say print, and then I could put in these quotes here, something like hello. If I press enter, it's just going to compile and run that line right away. Now what this isn't great for is writing multiple lines of code and then having them execute complex logic. For that we might need a new text file, and then we just run that text file rather than doing everything in the shell itself. So I'll show you how to set that up, and then we're just going to go into idle and we'll select a new file. Now it's usually a good idea to give your file a name right away. We're just going to go to File, we're going to go to Save As, and let's just give this guy a name. I'm going to call mine Hello, you'll see why very soon, and I'm just going to save it to the desktop. Make sure it's a Python file with a py extension. Go ahead and click Save. Now if we want to do pretty much the same thing that we did here, what we could do is actually just run that same line of code, so just print something like Hello. If I give this a save, make sure I save it and the asterisk will disappear, and then I go to this guy, make sure that this window is selected. We can go to Run module, or just press F5. Okay, it will do pretty much the same thing. It restarts it, and then it just runs that file there. In this case, the results are exactly the same as with the first case. So that's great, but how is it different from just running it in the shell? Well, in our case, it isn't. What we can do is make this file a little more complex. And what we'll do in our case is actually have it take in some input from the user, and then do something with that input, and then produce some output. So the way in which we take input in a Python program is through the input function. I'll show you how to use that in just a second. Let's just call our input something like input name, and we're going to set this equal to the function call to input. We'll open up the parentheses beside it, and within these parentheses we're going to put a quote or a couple of quotation marks here, and then within these quotations we're going to enter the prompt for the user. So this will be something like enter a name. Now what we'll do is we'll create another variable called output text, and this is just going to be something like, it'll be some quotes. It can say hello space and then plus whatever name that we entered, so input name. So we're just going to go ahead and give this a save. In our print statement, rather than just printing hello, we're actually going to print out our entire output text. So let's give this one final save, run the module, and you can see here that it's prompting us to enter a name. So I'm going to enter my own name, press enter, and now it says hello Nimish. When we come back, we're going to start learning about our Python language basics, so hopefully all these different components will make a little more sense, and we're going to begin with the topic of variables.